Did you know that more than half of all American workers say they're dissatisfied with their jobs? Well, you won't find any of them here on this podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome to Between Tides, where each episode explores fascinating careers and the people who make their lives better through their work. As occupations continue to evolve in an ever-changing world, we no longer want to ask, hey, what do you do for a living? Instead, we want to say, what drives you? What are you excited about? So join us today, we'll dive in. Well, Dale, welcome to Between Tides, our podcast.
Love it.
We're excited to have you on. Today we're going to be talking about your book. So I guess I'm going to lead off with this. The book is called The Talk. It's about money.
Right.
It's not that talk. It's a different talk. But the subtitle up here is A Young Adult's Guide to the One Decision That Changes Everything.
Right.
So to lead this off, what's that one decision?
I wonder if you're going to take that bait.
I am. Let's do it.
So it's funny. After I speak, most adults will say, where was this when I was 18? And our parents never talked to us about money, which there's a reason that they didn't, by the way. But it's about a moment in a young adult's life where they have the opportunity to make, I say, the most important life decision they'll ever make, and it deals with money. Now, you should pop back and say, hey, the person I chose to marry is my most important life decision. But if we don't get money right, half of our marriages are gone.
Wow.
And so it's just the moment when young adults get out of high school, college, military, and get their first real job paycheck and make the decision, instead of living on 100% of that paycheck, to stop and live on 70% and make 70 your 100.
Uh-huh.
So that's the most important, I say, life decision.
Okay.
You make that sound so easy.
Yeah.
Well, now think about that.
70, 20, 10. Right?
When the reason I say that they can do that,
Yeah.
they have no standard of living established yet.
Right. They don't even know any better.
You're
right?
at zero.
Right.
Yes.
And whatever number you accept as your standard, 70%, that becomes your reality. And after 3 weeks, boy, we're jumping in hot on this conversation. This is good. I loved it. But after 2 or 3 weeks, you'll never know that. You don't even know that 70 is not 100, right?
Right.
It's all you've ever known as your 100. So it's the inflection point of their life. I say I wrote it for 16 to 24-year-olds,
Sure.
yet to get your first real job yet. Because you're never going to have this moment again to set what number you want to live on. The first paycheck you get is the most powerful money you will ever hold in your life. Because what you do with it establishes all the habits after that follow. And so if you have no perspective on it, and you can set the habits that aren't there, the good habits, all you know is good habits. And so that's why it's so important to get in front of these kids before they get those, I say, first 3 paychecks.
Sure.
I'm curious. So writing to a younger generation or younger audience, let's say that, let's say they're still living at home, like they're not paying for groceries, they're not paying for insurance. And so would you recommend they still set up this framework versus now they're in college or they're out of college and now they're getting all the bills dumped on them all at the same time? Like, how do you balance that? Because without the bills, you feel like I've got a lot more money than I thought I did, right?
Well, everything's relative. So it's more a young adult that was just at our event downstage. I said, right now it's more about the habit than it's more about the lesson than the amount of money.
Okay.
The lesson is more important than the dollar amounts. Don't worry about the dollar amounts. Worry about the lesson. He said, what if I don't have I said, if it's $5, I just want you to study, and I want you to have perspective that you shouldn't spend everything that you make. As I said from the stage, investments don't make people wealthy. Living on less than you make makes you wealthy. Budgets don't make, this is not my quote, budgets don't make millionaires. Automatic makes millionaires. And so I just want them to, at this stage in their life, and I don't get into taxes. I don't get into a Roth or a regular IRA. And I hate to sound like this. It's not important. We have to deal. That's a terrible thing to say as a certified financial planner. But most important is that these young adults start off living on less than you make, stay out of debt, and stay away from credit cards.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 biggest dangers they have. And if you just start on living on less than you make, that it's going to accommodate most of the financial issues that you'll have in your life. Retire wealthy.
Well, and it's so foundational because all of the investment opportunities are never going to be there if there's nothing to invest. And if you haven't set that foundation principle,
That's so good.
you won't have anything.
It's all right.
So that makes total sense. I do wish I had known this when I was 18. I got my first credit card, which my parents co-signed when I was in college, and I put $400 on that thing before you could shake a stick. And I remember I got to spring break. I was saving up to go to spring break with my friends. And my parents said, "You don't have any money to go to spring break. You need to pay off your credit card." And I don't think they planned it out like that, but it was the best lesson I ever learned about credit card debt. Thankfully, before things spiraled out of
Small
control.
lessons before, yeah.
Took me a little while. Took me a year or two to pay down that credit card. But man, I learned a
That
very
one
valuable lesson.
random request of a parent was one of the most powerful financial lessons you've ever
Yeah.
heard in your life.
It was very powerful.
The statement, the first paycheck these young adults get is the most powerful money they'll ever have in their life. I can't stress the importance of how big of a deal it is. And I say, if you spend the first 3 paychecks, spending it all, you will statistically never back down. It's over.
Yeah.
And more money is not going to solve that, because most money problems, they're not problems about money.
Yeah.
You get into that like monopoly money mindset. You're just going to spend it and roll. And
That's right.
So I'm curious, when you talked about the make your 70 your 100, then you break that extra 30% into the 20 and 10.
That's right.
It's a lot of math.
Yeah. When you do that, do you recommend, we're kind of in a digital age, like a lot of kids, they don't even see money because they just deposit it and they see a number in an account, in an app.
Right.
Do you recommend they actually see the cash, or they divide it into like 3 buckets? Or do you see what I mean?
Well, you've also got to work with what's real world. They're not going to just get cash. So work with what we've got. And really, to be honest, it's never been an easier time to be successful, because the mutual funds, most of them, certainly the ones that I am going to show them, are no load. So there's no like $1,000 minimums to get started. And you've got all these apps, Robinhood, Acorn, and all these things that make it easy for people today. So the institutions have made it easier, kind of less barriers to entry. Certainly for young adults, you get gift to minor accounts. If you're under 18, your age of majority, you can get in these things. So it's really easier, I think, to be successful financially. It's also harder.
Yeah.
I say getting money right is not hard. There's just a lot trying to make it impossible.
Sure.
A
So many
lot
temptations.
trying to make it impossible. But it's not hard. Spend less than you make for a long time. Thank you all for having me. Take care.
Yeah.
Spend less than you make for a long time.
Yeah.
Easy to
It's
understand,
true.
hard to do.
I know that our banking app actually will set up any kind of framework that you want for taking your paycheck and putting it into like different areas. So you can set up savings, and you can set up, what it's going to come out of your monthly account for payments, like your general recurring payments. So when our kids started bank accounts, they were under the umbrella of ours, so we could see what was going on in their accounts at all times. And we encouraged them to do that, so that, for us, we tithe. So that takes that 10% of giving that you're going to talk about a little bit right out of the top. So they're not even missing it. They're not even thinking about it.
Right.
And then they can set up what they want to go into savings and so on. But it does help with having those apps.
We went through Dave Ramsey some years back, and we did the envelope system.
Okay.
We did too.
And I go to the bank, and I had like, 450s and 1720s and 8. And I remember putting it in there, and we got to the end of a year, and I remember going through envelopes, and I was going, look at all this money in these envelopes that we never spent. But if we hadn't done that, money's like toothpaste. It's easy to come out, but it's hard to get back in, and it was just fascinating to see all this money was left in these envelopes. But anyways, I'm just trying to set percentages up on things that make it just very simple for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a fan when Dave Ramsey, they have the Every Dollar app. We get you a little bit away from the envelopes, but it's pretty much the exact same system. I was grateful for that. I
Right.
wasn't a huge fan of the envelopes.
Right.
We did the envelopes for years, and what was funny is you're talking about going to the bank. My husband got paid monthly. So we would go to the bank, we would get all of this cash, back and have it divided into these denominations. And then we only did we ended up just doing, we broke the month into 3 parts and just did cash in each part. And everything came out of that. And when it was gone, it was gone. And anything left over went into our Christmas envelope.
Oh, yeah.
And so for us, it was so helpful
Right.
to just live within that means. But yeah, whatever works, whatever kids have access to that is workable, they should use.
Yeah. Yeah. Like with every dollar, it's, again, just because I use it, it's more, you can put as many categories in there as you want. You can have to get it down to the penny. But then you can also create funds to say like, well, we're in April right now. What if I want to think about Christmas? I can go ahead and start setting aside money so that come Christmas, I don't even have to stress about it. I already have that developed and set.
And that's really neat.
So when I say there's a lot trying to make it impossible, subscriptions today are just tearing
Sure.
tearing people apart. And I hear the worst. I mean, people want to come up to me and ask me questions of the things they're doing. So I see some of the good and some of the bad, but the subscriptions that people just don't even think they're paying for, you can $7.99 yourself to the poorhouse.
Right.
Straight
That needs to be on a bumper sticker.
to the poorhouse. I mean, to
You're
the
right.
poorhouse, right?
Yeah.
And it's stuff that you've never used again. We just
Yeah.
Or the trial subscriptions, right? You get your 7 days free or your 30 days free, and then you never remember to go back again.
So I go in my calendar and go out about 28 days and put a calendar reminder, cancel X.
I mean, they actually have apps now that will actually search for subscription that you have and then cancel it for you because there's so many.
But that's probably a subscription to that.
I bet
too. So they're punking us.
Yeah.
It's probably not free.
That'd be funny. Okay. So can we dive back into the 70 and 100? So that extra 30%. So spoiler, we know it's 20 and 10. But can you talk about that?
70, 20, 10. Live on 70, save and invest 20, because 10's not enough, and give 10. And I don't care who you give it away to. Give it away. We'll come back to that point. But make 70 or 100. That's your living bucket. So 20 saving and investing. And just very simply at the end of when I speak to kids, there's just 2 things young adults do. Number 1, start out with an emergency fund and build you $300, $500, $1,000 in an emergency fund in a checking savings account, because cash is king. Let's talk more about kind of the young adult perspective versus adults first. But cash is king for young adults. Because if you think about it, they're about to get out of college and start putting down payments on apartments, buying dishes and lawnmowers and a couch and non-fun stuff. Well, you don't want to put that on credit cards, so cash is king. So have cash in your emergency funds. I want them to start that now. Yeah. Certainly in high school, just start working on that, build you up. And these kids, it fascinates me how much some kids have today. It's fascinating how much kids that are working that'll have $5,000 and $7,000 and $8,000. It's incredible. It's exciting, but I tell them, build you up an emergency fund so you've got cash. And then the second thing is just start investing in mutual funds, and not really in retirement. This is kind of against the grain. Not really in retirement accounts right now. I know that's kind of against the grain of the financial planning world, but not right now. Just a mutual fund and a regular taxable account. I can come back to that later if you're interested.
So for a young listener, can you define what a mutual fund is?
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself.
You're good.
No,
So
you're fine.
we talk in the book, we talk about where are you, when I say 70, 20, 10, take 20% and save and invest. Well, where am I going to do that? They say. So I go through, there's 4 main places people put money: cash, bonds, stocks, or real estate. Cash is checking and savings account, right? Bonds, I won't get into that. It's good for older people retired in Florida like me that want more interest than a bank will give you, but so that's a bond. But stocks, and most kids have heard of stocks, and they usually yell out companies like Amazon, Google,
Sure.
Tesla, Nike, right? NVIDIA. And while that's great and it's ownership, a bond is like a loan, a stock is like an own, right? You own part of the company, but that's not where they're going to start. They're going to start in what's called a mutual fund. Okay. Some may know what that is. If you don't know what that is, a mutual fund, think of it like a bucket. And let's say all these different people want to save different amounts of money each month. 150, 500, 1,000. And but you don't know what kind of stuff you ought to invest in. Let's say you want to invest in stocks of great companies, but you don't know what these companies are doing, right? Or how to pick them or when to get out of them, right? And so a mutual fund will take millions of dollars a month coming in from these just random investors that want to save in that. Let's say it's a mutual fund invest in large growth companies in technology, let's say. So I use the example of $20 grandma money. You get a birthday card from grandma, it's got $20 in it. Well, you could take that $20 and send it to a mutual fund. And all this money is managed by investment managers. They manage these millions, and they're buying and selling companies, great companies of stocks, and they're selling some all day, every day. That's what they're doing. And they're taking your $20 grandma money and dividing it over potentially hundreds. One of my kids invested in had 537 the other day, and it changes every day. So their $20 grandma money is being divided over hundreds of companies, some like the Teslas, Amazons, Googles, right? And so it has professional management by these investment managers that went to brilliant schools. And they're looking at it all day, every day, and they're moving it around. This is how billionaires invest money. They hire brilliant investment analysts to take their billions and diversify it and move it around to places that it ought to be, constantly watched, in and out all the time. And we can do that, like billionaires, through mutual funds.
So you said use your $20 grandma money. Obviously, there's going to be, I'm assuming, a fee. Is it a...
Well, now they're no load. So they just take... Look,
so of the
they
20,
don't
how much
free.
is
So the mutual fund, if the maximum growth were 21% that year, that you may get 20, but there's no fees, and they've gotten rid of a lot of the fees, at least the ones that you can find no load mutual funds out there nowadays.
Good enough.
From the big names that you're familiar with.
Okay.
You talk in your presentation that we heard, and you said something to the effect of what money does to people. And for people who tend to do good, money makes them do better. And for people who tend to do bad things, money makes them worse. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So the quote that I use is from Truett Cathy of Chick-fil-A. He said, money makes a good person better and a bad person worse. How great is that quote?
It's really profound.
How great is that quote? I'm not that smart, so I'm going to steal his quote. But if you think about it, if you're a giver, if you have a serving spirit, and you like doing for others, and you make more money, you're going to use it to do more for others. If you're a taker, a getter, a hoarder, an I want my own, or I don't care about you, and you make more money, you're going to use it to take more from others. No question about it. Money is probably the greatest magnifier of the status of our heart.
Yeah.
I can fake somebody, and I say in the book, I can fake you into believing I like cats, but I can't fake what my checkbook reveals. Right? And our hearts usually follow where our money goes. And so it's a profound statement. It's I tell the kids, it's the truest of all these statements I'm going to say to you when I ask you true or false. It's such a great statement.
Well, you kind of talked about that a little bit with your 10% giving. So talk about that a little bit, because you say something in your book. I think, Jared, you put it down here. I can't remember where one of your pillars is giving 10% away. So our world preaches grind, accumulate, get your side hustles in, collect as much money as you can. Why do you think that giving money away actually makes a person better at managing?
Because what the world is telling us isn't working. The world's full of miserable rich people. Wealth doesn't necessarily mean happiness in life.
Sure.
And when I talk about giving, if they're, we know people feel that anxiety and loneliness and depression and hopefully not worse thoughts, but part of that is social media is telling us to get more for ourselves. It's telling us to keep more for ourselves, to hoard more for ourselves. It's telling us that the way to success and happiness is by serving ourselves.
Sure.
It's the world's greatest lie. And part of the answer, I'm not going to say all, but part of the answer is found in flipping the script and becoming second and serving others.
Okay.
The mind doesn't allow itself to feel hopeless when it's giving hope. And here's the thing, here's the proof of that. We were built with a reward system in our brains. When you do something good, you get a good feeling from that.
Sure.
You know, that's chemically built in your brain, designed dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, epinephrine. These are chemicals built in your brain to reward you for doing good. What if your whole life were built around just dropping grace on everybody that comes behind you and your family? Everybody who knows your family. This is a different life. I'm talking about a different life. This is a whole different reason for what you really want to do in your life. Everything changes when you start. Life gets new perspective when you start giving. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Everything starts to change. And the trick to giving, I say, well, Dale, you got to give me more. Well, there's a second reason. It's the law of reciprocity. The world rewards, you can't outgive what you outget.
Yeah.
Now, in my life, I'm not going to say this is going to work like this for anybody listening to this. But in my life, the more my wife and our foundation, the more we have tried to give away, the more we've seen come back. I'm not going to say it's going to work like that for anybody else.
Yeah, it's not magic. It's not a formula.
In my life, that's what I've seen. But here's the trick that people don't understand. When you start giving, what you think you want to get back, well, because I've seen selfish people give for selfish reasons.
Sure.
If I give 10, I'm going to need to get 12 back, whatever 10 and 12, let's say it's money, dollars. Well, if I give you $10, I'm going to need to get 12 back. Here's the trick that people don't understand. When I give you 10 and you go, Dale, let me give you go, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Give it to somebody else, because giving's going to grab your heart and everything gets new perspective. Everything. This is what people don't understand about giving. You can't be the same. It won't allow you to be the same. Our minds, those chemicals don't allow you to feel the same. I use the analogy of you're at a checkout counter and a lady's sitting there and she's got her hand on formula and her hand on diapers and is crying and doesn't. You got to push one back.
Right.
And what if you just walk up and go, put it all on my tab, put it all on my bill, I'll pay it all.
Yeah.
There's something about the ability to do that. And if these kids, the example that I use of $3,000 a month and the first check, 10%, you got to walk around and give away $300. It's hard to just walk around and give away $300 a month. But when you start doing it, I tell them in the book, take $100. We have Waffle House in Georgia and Florida. We have Waffle House.
Oh, we have Waffle House.
Okay. All right. Well, I love Waffle House because there's glass windows. And every Christmas, we would always go to a Waffle House and pay our normal bill and then leave a big tip underneath the plate. And we would all go out in the car and we would sit there and wait for the host or hostess to pick that plate up. And we would write a note and then watch them see what it does to them. And the kids grew up watching the tangible effect of that tiny little exercise. And now they're 28, 26, and 24. And we have to go to Waffle House
family tradition
before Christmas to give away the money. And it's getting bigger. It's gotten bigger and they're involved. And it just doesn't leave you the same. But the world's lying to us. Social media is lying to us.
So what would you say to someone right now that says, well, times are tough. I can't afford to be generous or just to give away that 10%.
You just somehow sell something online and give it away. Have a garage sale and then take the proceeds and give it away. There are ways we can find. It's easy to sell things today. Most everybody listening to this got just stuff that somebody else would find value in. Just sell it and then give it away. But you just try this. It won't leave you the same.
Yeah.
I want these kids to understand, I want young adults to understand these principles on small dollar amounts. I want them to learn all these rules on small dollars, because when big dollars show up, I want them to this is just normal part of their life.
Yeah.
I've been giving, I've been saving, I've been living inside financial margin for years. It's just normal to me and my classmates.
I think that's so life changing, and what a gift to give to your kids if they see you give. They see you give, especially if they see you give out of a little bit of pain
Mm.
and it costs something.
Mm.
Because if we're all rolling in the dough and you give a little bit, you're not sacrificing anything. But when you give as a younger person and giving hurts a little bit, it pinches you a little bit, that's very powerful in and of itself because the people who come after you see that and it makes a big statement to them.
I say in the book, Hollywood is full of miserable rich people. And actor Jim Carrey said one time, he said, I wish everybody could be given everything in life that they want so that they can understand that's not the answer.
Hmm.
It's a great quote. And giving tells the mind that there's more to life than ourselves, that it's about more than ourselves. And I think a lot of what the world says is the world wants us to live for ourselves, and that's not working. We're becoming more miserable. We're becoming more depressed, more angry. So I'm just on my watch. I'm trying to change it, at least in front of our young adults.
I think in the book, there's a quote that talks about the phone, about recognizing it's not just $1,000 phone.
Oh, it's
so much more than that.
I tell kids when you start out that being financially successful is hard, but being broke is hard. Pick one right now. Pick it. Pick it. Take a choice. Pick a choice.
Yep.
Stay where you are get you 5 extra roommates. Stay where you are an extra year. Drop Hulu, drop Netflix, drop
all the subscriptions.
Many of these things that we're not, it's just not right now important to the long-term goal. Stop paying for money to be delivered to your house from fast food places. Figure it out. And when you figure it out, there's a better life out there for us. And, if people are struggling, there are a lot of people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired of not knowing what my purpose is. This is important. Why am I here? What is my purpose for living? What's my reason for being here? So many people want to know that. What's my purpose? Where's my purpose? And I believe part of that answer is found in serving others.
Yeah.
And we were built to serve others. And to go against that, and I think it's an inherent need in us, in each of us, to want to give back to somebody, we all want to be important to somebody, maybe a grandkid, a charity you work with. For most of us, we all want to be important to someone or something in our life.
Yeah.
Giving's the way to do that. But our phone, there's just so many things in our lives that we do a lot of work in Kenya. You go to Kenya and tell some of these people, I say most money problems aren't problems about money. Young girl in a South Georgia high school raises her hand. She says, I can't live on 70% of my income. Now she's on a high school part-time job. But I said, why not? And she said, because it cost me $100 to get my nails done.
Oh.
Yeah. And every kid in that auditorium went, oh, and the principal lit her up. That's not a money problem. That's not a money problem, is it?
It's not.
That's not a money problem.
Mm-mm.
You go to the deepest parts of Kenya and tell them you spend $100 getting your nails done, they would look at us and say, you people have lost your ever-loving minds.
They wouldn't be wrong.
As we have.
Yeah.
It's Kimberly, my wife, just got back from there 4 days ago, and I start off by saying, rich has nothing to do with money. You can be homeless and be rich. Rich in good health, having friends. What about being at peace with what you have or don't? Isn't that rich?
Yeah.
Some of the richest people
content.
I've ever met in my life are in the deepest parts of Kenya because they're content. This is a hard word for Americans. They're content.
Yeah.
And so many adults will say, Dale, if I didn't start on 70, what do I do to fix it? And, but that contentment, that's a hard word for Americans to try.
I've always heard comparison is the end of contentness.
It's the enemy of
If
joy.
you're always just
thief of
comparing
joy.
to everything else.
It's the thief of joy.
And it's where the needle is on that too, because you have to figure out, what does it mean to be living with enough? What does that look like? Because It's very subjective. It's very hard to nail down and define. Certainly, it's impossible to do it broadly. But for myself or for my family, what does enough really look like? And yeah, I don't need subscriptions. I don't need to get $100 manicures, but it could be the kind of car, how old my car is. It could be the kind of clothes that I wear. It could be the kind of job that I have. What does it mean to live on enough?
And there's a great financial author, Morgan Housel, and in one of his books, The Psychology of Money, he says that just when we think we've made it, the goalpost moves.
Sure.
Right.
And that's the problem with Americans. What satisfies us today becomes insufficient tomorrow.
Yes.
And the goalpost is always moving. And unless you define this is why giving, unless you define what it is what's the end result. By the way, the comparison trap, I define that as hoping that what you buy or get to match what someone else has makes me as happy as I think it makes them without knowing the real truth.
Right.
Without knowing the real truth. Because it's not really making them what I think it's making them. So that's why when I'm talking to kids, I go, when you put something on here and you're trying to keep up with highlight reels, these are highlight reels. This is our problem. We think the stuff we're seeing, we're falling backwards. But what we're seeing is not the truth. Their life isn't like that. Their vacation wasn't like that. It's the best that they've got. It's the highlight, and it's filtered and edited, picked, plucked, done everything you can to that thing, right?
Yeah.
Everything you can to that picture. And we think we're falling back.
Mm-hmm.
And this is tearing us apart relationally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. It's tearing us apart. Every kind of Ali you can think of, it's tearing us apart.
Yeah.
And we're chasing highlight reels. If you listen to this, have you ever seen a great trailer for a movie and you go see the movie and it's terrible?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw the best parts.
Oh,
did.
and that's all you saw was the best. And I want our kids, I don't want them to get to the end and say, man, I wasted my marriage, my health, a job, a career. I wasted a relationship with my children chasing highlight reels. And it was a lie.
Yeah.
It wasn't true. I thought this truth was out there that we kept trying to get to, and it tore my family. It tore my money. It tore my heart. It tore us apart. And it turned out to be not real. And I don't want these kids to have that.
Yeah.
I want them to make their own highlight reels, be their own story, not care about what the world wants. Go set your own stuff and have every organization that knows you wants you on their board. They want to put you on planes because everybody wants a piece of a person that's a giver.
Yeah.
Because they bring hope. And hope is the antidote to most of the problems that we face in our life today. Hope. But the education world is built on hope.
Yeah.
That's what education's all about. Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to give, that's what giving, and not being of what the world wants us to have and keep doing, and the rat race. Anyway, even if you win, you're still a rat, right?
Yeah.
You've kind of touched on this a little bit. Can you talk a little bit more about debt as a future thief? Because I think that's such a good metaphor to help, especially younger people, really think through. There's a cost to every decision that we make. So what am I paying down today that's taking away from something down the road?
Yeah, to your point, debt is a thief of the future. It's saying I don't have enough confidence in the future that I've got to leverage it today. It's such a thief. And the decisions that we're making on debt today it's out of control. The amount of debt we're taking on, certainly as Americans. That's why, I envision it like, I call it the drift.
Okay.
And most people love to play in the ocean. Everybody loves playing in the ocean. You go, it's fun, and we're all having a good time, right? Have you ever noticed when you go out in the ocean and 45 minutes later when you're ready to go in, you're 200 yards down the beach? Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Listen, you never realized when you were drifting, but you ultimately realized you had drifted. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
My pastor one time said, no one realizes when they're getting lost. Everyone realizes when they are lost.
Yes.
And so in Florida, I love surfing. And so you're surfing. If there's a drift, usually my wife would be with me, and Kimberly, let's say Kimberly's on the beach, and I would define that as home base,
Mm-hmm.
true north, where I want to end up.
Yep.
Right? That's my goal. And people go, well, how do you overcome the drift? Because in today's world, what is the drift? Busyness, advertising algorithms, apathy, keeping up with the Joneses, who are broke, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all of these things. Unawareness. These are all drifts. And this isn't just financially. We drift relationally,
Sure.
parentally, financially, healthily, new word alert, healthily,
Morally.
morally, spiritually, we drift. Well, how do you overcome the drift? So if my wife is sitting there on the beach, I know I need to paddle back, listen, through the drift. And here's the thing, your dream has to be stronger than the drift. And if I know if I know where true north is, where do I want to wind up? And this is the danger of debt. Debt's saying, I don't care about my future. I don't have a future. I don't know what the future is. If I did, I wouldn't take all this on because I know what it does. First of all, you need to learn how powerful it is. It's a strong drift. It's a strong current. But you have to paddle back through the drift, and your dream has to be stronger than a drift. One of my great friends, Dr. Tim Elmore, he wrote the foreword in my book. He said, listen to this quote, "It's better to build a fence at the top than a hospital at the bottom." How good is that?
That's really good. Yeah.
It's better to build a fence at the top than a hospital at the bottom. I never want kids to need a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I never want you to have to go from 104% of your income to 91. I never want you to need that. I want you to start at 70
Mm-hmm.
and never even know you made a decision, because go back, remember, we're at 0 right now. And I want to build a fence at the top. And I would rather prepare than repair. Okay? And to not ever get caught in the drift.
Yeah.
And all of these things create hope in your life. This young kid at a school one day, he goes, if I live on 70, I'm still going to have problems, right? And I go, sure you are. Because everything in that 70, you're going to spend to 0. Just like you would if it were 100. You're going to go to 0.
Yeah.
And he goes, and then he looks at me and he starts smiling. He goes, but problems land lighter. I go, oh, now you're getting it.
Yeah.
Problems just land lighter when you live inside financial margin. By the way, if anybody's not living it, I can solve it. If you didn't start on 70, I can tell you how to solve it.
Uh-huh.
But he just, that smile, he goes, but problems land lighter. I go, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, bingo.
Life lands lighter when you live inside financial margin.
Yeah.
Our marriages are better. Our parenting is better. Our vacations are better. Just think, your job magically gets better. Your boss magically gets nicer. The car magically drives better. The mileage shortens to your office. It's magical how life just tends to land lighter when you live inside financial margin.
Well, and frankly, if you can exercise self-discipline with your finances, then that's going to be a great foundation for exercising discipline in every other area of your life, because that's one of the hardest ones.
Because the money, we know, affects the health, affects work, affects parenting, affects marriages. Certainly, it's the biggest poison if you get it wrong. But if you get it right, boy, it can change a lot of stuff.
So I know when you're talking with high school students, if you had to give them like a 1-sentence statement for a legacy, what would you tell them?
I put it on a billboard on an interstate in Georgia, runs through the middle of Georgia, and it says, make 70 your 100.
Okay, there it is.
So that's the most important thing in that book is make 70 your 100. And if you do that, it'll change your grandchildren's grandchildren's lives, I like to say. Very quickly, if I could answer, because most adults listening to this many might say, Dale, if I didn't start on 70, how can I fix it? Can I answer that question?
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
There's 2 things you do. It's not over. It's 2 things you do. This is 100% guaranteed to work.
Okay.
Good
For
odds.
number one, for the rest of your life, every new dollar coming in your house, would you agree that for the rest of your life, your income will probably go up? It's probably not going to stay dead level. Would you agree?
Sure.
In general, it goes up. For the rest of your life, every new dollar coming in your house, every raise at work, bonus a spouse gets at their job, garage sale proceeds, when you pay off that car loan, would you agree that's new money coming in your house? That's new money. You're not living on it right now.
Correct.
From now on, never take more than half of it. For the rest of your life, ever, never take more than half of it. Get to some seasons, you get a $2,000 raise at work next. Well, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Never take more than half of it. Get to some seasons, hard word, where you get content.
There it is again.
As an American, content. Let's don't take any of this. This is where the magic with my wife and I have. We started going, why do we need any? We're fine right now. Why take any of it?
Yeah.
And when you do this, every year you're living on less and less of your income. You're getting more financial margin. 100%. You're not living on it now anyways. It's new money. Look, when you pay off that car loan, the next month you've got $500 free dollars, don't you? What's the first thought that comes through an American's mind when you?
I have $500 to spend.
What am I going to go get now? It's sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get another one.
It is sick.
I'm going to go get another one.
Yeah.
You can either turn that money and use it for good or leave it alone. And in 2 months, busyness, unawareness, advertising algorithms, greed goes and grabs it, and you can never get it back. It's gone forever.
Yeah.
This is that decision on every paycheck for the rest of your life. It's new. The second thing that you do, the money you save, you have to supercharge it by investing it in stocks of great companies of the world through mutual funds. And if you will, Dale, in the stock market, risky. Just watch my content, grab the book. It's 87 pages. Just read the book, and it'll teach you, is the stock market risky? This is just what the wealthy know, and most people weren't taught. This is not hard, but you just have to make a couple of great decisions, but it's not hard.
Yeah, whether you're looking at a snapshot or the long term.
Correct. Short term it is. Long term, by far, it's been the best place to be. And we go through and we study that and we prove it in there.
Okay.
Well, like you said, you choose your hard.
Yep.
Pick your hard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I have one final question for you.
Go.
Can you explain that image? So, for a listener, at the very beginning of his book, there's a silhouette of a man on a skateboard doing a handstand. Let's talk about that.
So I'm 62.
Okay.
If you remember David Letterman's stupid pet tricks.
I sure do.
All right, my stupid pet trick, we all got a stupid pet trick. I ride skateboards on my hands, even at 62. So every year I do a birthday skateboard handstand ride. So I go ride, and if you go to my website, you can see the video. But I do my skateboard handstand ride, and then I get off and tell this little part of wisdom, a little saying or whatever, little message, and it's like a minute and a half. But so that's literally that image there. That's me from one of my. I should actually show you the ride.
That's impressive.
And it's a picture of Frozen of me doing my skateboard handstand.
Okay.
So, like Michael Jordan has the Airman,
Yeah.
that's a skateboard man.
All right, there
That's
it
a
is.
skateboard dude.
You got to make T-shirts.
Yep.
I know. It is on my hat.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's really good.
Yeah. Well, Dale, thank you so much for just sitting down with us, for imparting wisdom to young people, and especially just what you do. We very much appreciate that. Yeah. And to the listener, if you have any questions or comments on the things we've talked about today, we always invite them to come and leave us feedback. You can listen to this wherever you get your podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Dale.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you.